welcome to a discussion on ethnicity and ethnic identity. As you understand, in the age of globalization, there has been enormous tension in the society. There has been tension between the local and the global processes, and within these processes there has been an attempt to enroot oneself with one's primordiality. Maybe that primordiality be defined in terms of one's caste identity, the race identity, the tribal identity, the regional identity, and the linguistic identity. We are talking at present in terms of ethnic identity, how the ethnic identity is different from those of or related to those of the caste, cultural, linguistic and other kind of identities. To discuss several of these issues, today we are having among us Professor Virginius Khakha from Delhi School of Economics. Professor Virginius Khakha is one of the leading experts in dealing with the issues of ethnicity, the tribes. He has also specialized in the area of agrarian studies and social movement. It is very privileged for us, especially for the sociology faculty of Indira Gandhi National Open University, to have Professor Khakha among us today. Welcome, Professor Khakha.
Thank you.
Before we go in depth of this issue, I like to raise a very small question. How do you like to define the whole concept of ethnicity, and what are the interface of this concept with those of the caste, tribes and other kind of primordial groupings in our society?
Well, ethnicity is a concept is extremely difficult to define, because it is in a way related with a number of allied concepts, and often we find that ethnicity is interchangeably used with race. It may also be used with tribe, it may also be used as a nations, and so on and so forth. And therefore, I think as social scientists, probably if we are really thinking of theorizing, thinking of conceptualizing, then I think it becomes an important that some of the way in which ethnicity has been conceptualized, ethnicity has been defined, in fact we need to re-examine them, and also I think we need to relate them with some of its kindred concepts, the ones which I have already mentioned. See, ethnicity to my mind is primarily a cultural aspects, is a cultural dimensions, and I think when you talk of ethnicity, I think there are three major elements which seems to be very, very critical. One is the aspects of language, and the other is culture, and the third I talk is ancestry. Because a group of people who speak the same language, share the same culture, and who trust themselves from same called common ancestor is something which you find as a kind of a group, as a kind of people. And therefore, this is very critical to the understanding of ethnicity. Now, to these critical elements, you may add many new things. For example, food habits, maybe the modes of dress, maybe shared historical experiences, and so on and so forth. So, what I am trying to say that to the more critical elements of ethnicity, namely language, culture and ancestry, you may add many more attributes in order to what is called enrich as to what the ethnicity really means. Now, ethnicity in the sense in which I have just tried to spell out, in fact I also find that it has a lot of overlapping with a term like nation. Now, what is really a nation? After all, if you take nation, it talks about that you have a collective name, that you have a common culture, that you have a common language, maybe common historical experiences, and so on and so forth. So, what you find that there is a very thin layer between ethnicity and nation, and therefore you find that most of the attributes that we have with most of the attributes that we associate with ethnicity seems to be also the features which is to do with the nation. So, how do we really look at then the ethnicity and the nation? And to my mind, I think there are one very critical difference between the two. When we talk of nation, to my mind, is invariably bound with a territory. Yeah. Nations is occupying or is bound with a territory, which is not necessarily the case in ethnicity. For example, when we talk of let us say the French nations or the Italian nations, I think we know that it is tied to a particular territory. But the same group, when it moves to America, there are a lot of French, there are a lot of Italians and so on and so forth, maybe in USA, etc. There you cannot really talk of a German nation as such, you can talk of an ethnicity. And therefore, I would like to say that although they share almost all things in common with each other, I think one of the critical differences in terms of which we can conceptualize ethnicity as somewhat different from nation is the aspects of territory, because ethnicity you may have originally from certain territory, but actually you have moved away and you have lost that territory, and therefore that is how you really are being seen as a kind of an ethnic group. So Italians or Germans or the Irish more are seen as an ethnic group there than as a nation. As against this, I think race is somewhat of a different concept, although I find that again there is an overlapping between ethnicity and race, and I think in many countries, even in the legal and administrations, you find that these are interchangeably used. For example, Indians may be called some places as ethnic groups, but in other places they may be considered as a race. So what I am really trying to say is that there is a very thin layer between race and ethnicity as well, because when you talk of a race, and the concept race as it really came to evolve is again to be traced with the colonialism, as it was the case with the tribes. But the concept race, which was primarily to do with the physical appearances, color, in fact is completely discredited after the Second World War. In fact, scientifically the concept of race is untenable today. Because the scientists have argued there is no biological differences between, let's say, among groups of people who exhibit the same physical traits or same color. They show enormous diversity in terms of genetic differences, and therefore the differences that you find among groups of people who share same physical features, the same kind of differences that you find across groups and communities who show entirely different physical features. So what I am trying to say is that race is completely discredited concept, discredited today because of the fact that genetic differences is hardly tenable even among groups of communities, or genetic uniformity is hardly tenable among groups and communities who exhibit a similar physical features. But nevertheless, I think there is an overlapping between what we call the physical appearance. Physical appearance, I think, is an important, and as to why there is a difference in the physical appearance, maybe it is to do with the inbreeding and their associations or their linkage or their contact with different culture and different groups and communities, etc. But physical variations of the people remains one of the important dimensions, and so as a sociologist you cannot really do away with it. Although, as I said, it discredited, and we might say that I think sociology is doing great harm by using it in its sociological discourse and in sociological literature. But nevertheless, you find that physical differences do do matter, and on the basis of physical differences, you consider society, at least you find that consider is significant or not significant. Why you find certain kinds of physical characteristics or physical variations are considered more significant than the others, and this is a sociological questions as to why we attribute certain sociological meanings to physical variations in terms of the fact that certain groups of people who exhibit certain physical traits are superior, or they are powerful, or they are more intelligent, or they are morally more sound, and so on and so forth. I think these are the kinds of ideas which we tend to attribute, and that is where I think, even though as a biological concept is discredited, yet sociologically it is really meaningful. Now, here between ethnicity and race, I only want to say, and you find that there is a lot of commonality between physical appearance and what you call the ethnicity, where we emphasize culture, because you find that people who may have somewhat similar physical features, you may find that they exhibiting a similar cultural features as well, and therefore you find physical features as well as the cultural features, they really coincide. But it does not necessarily mean that those who have the similar physical features may always have a similar cultural features. For example, the whites or Europeans, I think they, in terms of physical features, I think for Indians it's very difficult to distinguish who is European, who is an Irish, and who is Scottish, who is French, who is Italian. But nevertheless, we know it. We can differentiate them on the basis of their culture, because of the language, because of the culture, because of the historical experiences, because of the food habits, maybe dress, and so on and so forth. We do make differences. So what I am trying to say is that ethnicity as well as race, although there is an overlapping, I think when we talk of ethnicity, you find that it is the cultural dimensions which we are emphasizing. When we are talking of race, it is the physical dimensions which we actually are emphasizing. And therefore, when we are emphasizing physical dimensions, I think it's not so much the culture, but it's the physical dimensions which become important. And when you emphasize physical dimensions and try to attribute the physical differentiations with all kinds of social and other kinds of cultural attributes, in fact, we are already moving to the domain of social construction of racism. We are actually developing a kind of racism. So I think it is then important for us to say that the race, the ethnicity and the nations, although there might be some overlapping, and yet in terms of our conceptual articulations, conceptual clarifications, I think it is important to keep certain kinds of differences in mind. Now coming to India, I think as to how is to be seen. For example, we have the phenomena, very unique phenomena of caste. Whether to describe caste as an ethnicity, I am not really very sure, and therefore I am just trying to say that there is a serious problem, because if I take the criteria of language or culture or common ancestry as very critical elements in conceptualizing of ethnicity, then I am not really very sure whether certain strata or certain caste can really be thought of as an ethnicity. They may have some certain kinds of culture of their own in terms of dress and habits, in terms of certain kinds of pattern of actions which has been imposed by, let us say, the religion and so on and so forth. But still I find that there is so much of overlapping among different strata or different segments of caste, that to conceptualize one particular caste as an ethnic group, I find is a little difficult. Now as far as the tribals are concerned, I think again is a problem. So long as tribes represent a particular stage of development, you find and tribals can be conceptualized as tribes, and tribals again are tied to the land. Yeah. You cannot think of a tribe outside of the land, which is possible to think of an ethnicity. Ethnicity, you can think of a person who is, as I said, without any ties to land, without any ties to territory. Tribals are always connected with a particular kind of a territory. And the tribals have a language, they have a culture, they have what is called religion of their own, and so on and so forth. And therefore, it becomes interesting to think tribes as an ethnic group, provided they move away from their basic territory. Otherwise, it becomes a little difficult whether one can really conceptualize them as a tribe or as an ethnic group. Vis-a-vis other tribal groups, they may be conceptualized as an ethnic group. For example, I think to my mind, Asanthal and Bodo, although both may be described as tribes, I would like to think of them more as ethnicity when they really come into interactions with each other. And in India, I think when you talk of ethnicity, to my mind, language is very important, region is very important. And I think the days of ethnicity, to my mind, in terms of linguistic assertions of the people, I think was the 50s and 60s, when you find that the dominant community which spoke a particular language, I think there was this articulations for a separate state of their own. For example, you have a movement for Telangana state, movement for Maharashtra state, a movement for a problem between the Assamese and the Bengalis in Assam, etc., etc. I think that was a phase when you find ethnic articulations, Tamilians asking for almost a country of their own in the early 50s and so on and so forth. So that was really a phase of an ethnic movement. But today you find that the assertions of an ethnic identity by the dominant ethnic groups, like linguistic groups I am really talking about, I think this is no longer that case. But ethnic articulations and identity, particularly among the ethnic minorities, particularly tribals, I think has become very, very significant today. So this is one. And the other, I think, is that when you talk of ethnicity, probably we have also to think in terms of religion, whether religious conflict, religious assertions, religious identity is to be thought of as an ethnic identity. I think there is again and the problem, we have to conceptualize that there are two really different things: religious identity, religious assertions. We talk of ethnic religious communalism, we don't talk of ethnic communalism. So I think is an important to keep our concepts a little more clear, so that we know as to when we can think of as it is a religious communalism or is a religious assertions or religious identity, and when it is an ethnic identity. To my mind, sometimes you find that ethnicity and religion may also coincide, overlap, but it's not necessary. For example, when Pakistan, there was one state of Pakistan, East Pakistan and West Pakistan. I think both practice religion in the terms of Islam, but surely they represented two different ethnic groups, or what do you call even the nationality. So you find that was one of the reasons as to why you find that East Pakistan almost seceded from the West Pakistan. So, and that kind of situations you can see in India as well. So what is important for us is that certain point of time ethnicity and religion converge, overlap, and certain point of time you find that it is not. But I think as a sociologist, it is important for us to try to analyze, examine as to whether there is a overlapping between ethnicity and religion, or you find that there is a clear-cut distinctions between ethnicity and religion. I think as sociologists, we need to do a little more careful reading of these terms and try to look at the empirical reality in terms of our conceptual clarity.
Thank you. Giving this broad canvas on which a lot of problems are now cropping up. One is that it is understood that we are a multicultural, multi-ethnic nation, and within that we find again the resurgence of several small kind of a minority, even ethnic assertion. Why those kind of assertion taking shape? Bodoland assertion is one of those varieties. Rajbangshi assertion is another. Telangana is still yet to be resolved within that. What are those contradictions, and why these have not been subsumed within the whole national framework of our society?
Well, I think this is a little more complex issues. First of all, I think we have to place the whole ethnic problems that we have encountered in India today, or even in history, at the backdrop of what we call the modernizations which came up during the colonial rule. And with modernizations, you find a process of industrializations, you find sort of with the colonial rule a process of modernizations, you find the phenomena of war and conquest, you find the phenomena of colonizations, you find a phenomena of immigrations. Now, it is precisely within this backdrop that one has to really situate the problem of ethnicity. I think one cannot really think of an ethnic understand ethnic identity, ethnic articulations outside of this what you call the war and conquest, colonizations and immigrations. I think it's very, very important. Now, much of the problems of ethnic assertions in India again is to do with this, because let's say when the British came to India, they conquered it, and naturally that gave rise to a conflict between the British and the Indians. But at the same time, you find that during colonial rule, all kinds of expansions in terms of industrializations, in terms of urbanizations, in terms of growing up of the administrative centers were really emerging, and that really led to the movement of the populations from one place to the another. For example, you were talking about the Northeast India, you talk about Bodos and the Santals or Rajbangshis, etc. Now, Assam was almost it was very small populations, and the large tract of land in Assam was really sort of wasteland or jungle land. It was reclaimed for plantations, and when the plantations came, you find recruitment of the labor from what is known as a mainland tribal belt, Andhra, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and so on and so forth. So you find these areas became a source of supply of labor, and therefore labor were primarily being recruited. Now it goes to Assam. Similarly, you find it because these were developing areas. You find a lot of influx of the people from Bengal at that time moving to Assam. And you find also traders and money lenders, because it was opening up the economy. So you find money lenders and traders from northern India moving to the. So what you find that this immigrations which led to the Assam, I am just giving you an illustration as to how it has really complicated the process of what you call the ethnic assertions and ethnic identity. Now, so what you find that once they move, naturally it has a consequence. You find that aspects of exploitations, aspects of hierarchy, aspects of dominations, all these really come up. Now, I think ethnic assertions or ethnic identity primarily has to be seen, as I said, in terms of this this complex process of what you call the exploitations, dominations, and discriminations in terms of access to what is called resources in the domain of politics, in the domain of economics, in the domain of economy. These are the primary. You find that it is with reference, it is with a view to access the resources in the domain of politics and economics that you find that there is an assertion of ethnic identity. And by and large, assertions of ethnic identity has primarily been what is called worked out by those who have remained either excluded or marginalized or segregated from access to these kinds of resources. So you find, like for example, the Bodos asking for a separate state is precisely because they thought that in the state of Assam they were marginalized. They did not have an access to resources. They did not, let's say, either in terms of access to white collar jobs, white collar employment, being discriminated, and so on and so forth. So you know, this is how you find the articulations and assertions of the Bodos, and therefore a demand for a separate state. But interestingly, you find that ethnic assertions in India, particularly in Northeast India, has always taken the form of separate state. This I find it really curious, but I think this is the whole demand on articulations for separate state. Maybe it is more to do with the emergence middle class within those ethnic groups, because invariably articulation has emerged among those groups of communities where you find a sizable middle class has really has emerged because of modern education. So that is how I think that the whole assertions of articulations of autonomy, articulations for greater economic access to economic resources, etc., is basically driven by the emergent middle class in those groups and communities.
You pointed out two very interesting. One is that a process of marginalization getting inbuilt with the whole process of articulation of the ethnic identity on the one hand. Second is that of a political aspiration coming out of the emergence of a middle class from among them. Will you please just highlight what has been the response of the sociologist or the social scientist in general in dealing with the issues of those ethnic groups in our society as a reality of Indian society rather?
Well, I think sociologists have surely engaged a great deal to the understanding of the ethnic processes in India. But I think the study of ethnic groups is much more widespread in United States of America, not so much in India. But nevertheless, I think there are important studies that have been done. I don't exactly remember the name of the book, but I think Dipankar Gupta on Shiv Sena movement in Bombay, I think it is an important work which is to do with an ethnic movement. And also I think recently Paul Brass has come with, I think again, I don't exactly recollect the name of the book, I think ethnicity and nationalism or something. I'm not very clear about that. But what I'm trying to say is that you know, in the sociology probably ethnic study of ethnic groups in India has not really been that strong, and even if where it has come where it in the form of tribal studies. So you find that, but nevertheless, I think ethnic assertions, for example, in terms of whole understanding of the linguistic states and the aspirations and demands for the linguistic states in India, probably it has to do with an ethnic assertions. And as I said earlier, that this kind of demand, for example, by Andhrites or by the Maharashtrians, in fact, has been done primarily because they saw themselves as subjugated and suppressed and exploited by the Tamilians in Andhra Pradesh and what is called by the Gujaratis in Maharashtra, or particularly in Bombay. Now, so what I am really trying to say is that basically articulations of ethnic identity has come from the experiences of exploitations, discriminations and dominations. And this you find it both in the domain of economy as well as in the domain of politics.
Just at this point, if a sociologist is to undertake the study of poverty, ethnic minorities are also coming there as a kind of a subject of those kind of exploitation or reeling under the wheel of poverty. Unemployment, maybe again those categories are repeated one way or the other. So, when we are going to study some of the social problems of deprivation or marginalization, maybe we are going to address the issues of ethnicity from a different angle.
Yeah, it's surely I think it is an important, because I think when we are addressing problems like poverty or marginalizations, then it is also important that we try to see this problem of poverty or for example, the lack of access to educations or rampant problem of illiteracy, and try to see as to how this is in a certain sense linked with the problem of ethnicity or caste or religion and so on and so forth. And you know, if we all know that in India, if we really look at some of these problems like poverty, etc., it is much more widespread among the tribals, it's much more widespread among the scheduled castes, it's quite spread among the Muslims or the OBCs, lower OBCs and so on and so forth. So you can see that poverty is there or problem of literacy is there, but it is also in a way tied with certain groups and communities who represent a certain caste, who represent a certain religion, who represent a certain ethnic group and so on and so forth. So you cannot really, in trying to understand poverty, you cannot really do away with, I said, the dimensions of ethnicity and the caste, religion and so on and so forth. So whole idea of inclusion, in fact, you find this some way tied with the whole questions of exclusion, which is based, as I said, on caste, on religion, on tribe and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Professor Khaka, for giving an elaboration in a very lucid way about this whole issue of ethnicity and ethnic identity in Indian society, taking the clue from what's going on in terms of race, in terms of caste, the tribes and others, and also talking about how the issue of ethnicity is related to the issue of marginalization and deprivation in so many other sectors of the society. And thank you very much for coming over here and enriching the process of learning of our student. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.